Look, I opened this jar of rotten baby food, and well, a butterfly came out.
I'm like, oh, wow. That in my head, they didn't come out the same way. And I was going to try and do it again, try and get that level up. I'm like, what is happening? And then it's like I'm not doing that joke again. Like, so there's a little bit of a crush, but.
Welcome to the Comedians and Elevators podcast. I've got my guest, Ryan Parker. Ryan, say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Ryan Parker. I'm a wildlife conservationist living just outside London in the UK, as well as a safari guide, and I'm a wildlife presenter. I spend a lot of time rescuing animals from various different situations. And I can use them on camera and sometimes cameras for safaris, or I'm standing up in front of people. Anything to do with animals, I am there just teaching people about wildlife conservation and helping.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm sure you had a lot of comedic moments with animals, right?
Oh, so many. Yeah, so many. Yeah, I do end up laughing quite a lot.
All right. So, Ryan, you ready to get started?
I am.
Listen, to my regular listeners, I know you don't like when at the beginning of these conversations I ask you to subscribe. None of us like it. I don't like saying it. I don't like it being in here. But it's frustrating. You know what else is frustrating? It's also frustrating when I look in the back end of the YouTube channel and I see that 56% of you that watch frequently haven't yet subscribed. And I know this because I see it in the comment section. You say things like, I didn't know I didn't subscribe. And that's actually what fuels the show. Basically, it's like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask all the time, because it enables us to build and build and build. And we're going for the long term here. Hit the subscribe button and we'll continue to build this show for you. That's my promise. Thank you to all you guys that do subscribe. It means the world to me. All right. So the whole point of the podcast is to compare and contrast the comic versus the comedian. So I define the comic as any person telling funny jokes versus the comedian who's a funny person telling any jokes. So Ryan, would you agree that you start as a comic and evolve into a comedian?
Maybe. I think it's hard to say. But like some comedians, if you meet them in real life, they're not very funny. But then you see their material and it's completely hilarious. Where some people are comics off the bat, they're just boom straight, completely funny. But even then, sometimes if you put them into a comedian role, then they fall flat. But I think a lot will start off being funny. Yes, I think it's true, very true. But there's a small grey area where some comedians, they lack that natural funniness.
It had to be
The
learned.
characters.
So does that? Do you see that with animals? Do they get stage fright?
You know, some animals do get stage fright, or they get overexcited. I have a little parrot. He likes it. He's very, very funny, and he'll sit on my shoulder. But when the camera's on, he'll turn around and be away from the camera. We actually got a great blooper reel. I was filming with a skunk, a striped skunk called Goose. I love Goose. He's one of my favorite animals to work with. And I'm trying to do presenting, like professional presenting. This is a skunk. And he just can he waddles a bit, and he just can waddling off every time I'm trying to get him on camera. I think we've done about 20 takes of just Goose just going straight past me constantly. Yeah, that was a lot of fun actually. I was laughing quite a lot. I think it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
All right. So you ready for the first question, Ryan?
Yep.
All right. So it's about the role of persona in comedy. So how much of a comedian's voice is a character versus their real self?
Oh, depends on the comedian, you know. I think it depends on the comedian. I think any performer, even when you're going as yourself as a comedian, you're yourself. And I'm not a comedian, but I stand up in front of people and do talks or on camera, and I'm me. But there's still this persona you have to put on, and you put on like this character. So I think it really, really depends. But I would say, and then when you come off the stage, you're like, whew, and then you go onto the stage and you like, I don't know, it's a bit like a Superman thing. It's like you take off the glasses and open up your shirt, and suddenly you're Superman. Put them back on, and you go back to being Clark Kent, but it's the same person. So I think it's an overall like a huge extension of that person. But how much comes out of them, it really depends on which situation. But I'll probably say overall it is the same person. They're not playing a like a movie character or a fictional character. It's a exaggerated extension of themselves, I think.
I like that. So I do have an argument about how that happens, that transition. And I would guess you're an introvert, but when you get on stage, you become an extrovert. Would you agree?
Yes, I'm very much that as well. Yes, I really agree. I think a lot of the best performers out there, musicians or comedians, actors, are the same. And it happens for me as well sometimes where I may be like really nervous and before, and I can put myself out there, even as an introvert, I can put myself out there in public or talking to people and be very shy and quiet and talk like this. Or I can be very loud. But the moment I step onto that stage, it's like, yeah, it's completely like that Superman thing, just taking off your glasses and you're completely someone else and you become this loud, extroverted person and huge personality. So I'd agree. Yes, very much so.
All right. Sad story is I'm an extrovert, so I get on stage, I become an introvert. It's a very sad reality for me in that respect. So, how about punching up versus punching down? So, where do comics versus comedians subscribe to this? And let me put it in some historical context. Did a jealous medieval prince become the first comedian by killing the court jester?
Um, I'm pretty sure. I think the whole industry started on the court jester, right? Like actors and comedians, musicians, were there just entertainers. Everyone, if you're an entertainer, you are a court jester. Um, but I don't find killing somebody that funny. So I don't want to say he's like the greatest comedian. It seems like a
Well, the
little mean
first
to
one,
do
not
that.
the greatest one, right? It's the second one that takes on the legacy, but the first one had to do it. This is an extreme example. I don't know, of Game of Thrones style, right? So, is criticizing dead people considered punching down?
No, no, I think it's a free for all. Like yeah, I think I don't like this thing if someone dies. Like, some people are not liked and might not be nice people, and when they die, they're like, "Oh, you have to be respectful." It's like, hang on a minute, you didn't like them when they was alive. Uh, but no, you can. I think you can totally like have fun criticizing, or I don't like to criticize, but like pulling fun over someone. And mocking each other and making a joke out of something, as long as it's not not a nasty way or you're not trying to hurt anyone. But I think it's a free for all, whether they're alive, whether they're dead. I think, and they're dead as well. So it's not, if they're a ghost, hopefully they're sitting there laughing. If there is no life after death, then who cares?
I'm gonna write this right down into my question. I'm gonna rephrase it. Is constructive criticizing dead people considered punching down?
Um, no, I would,
Nothing changed,
I would,
huh?
nothing changed. No.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. So, how about the cultural translation of comedy? So, how do jokes that work in one country bomb in another?
That's so interesting. I think it is like mentality and culture. We see it a lot over here in the UK compared to the United States, especially at the moment with the World Cup on at the moment, and we're seeing like our English fans and the Scottish fans chanting in the streets and like chanting in the stadiums compared to the American fans. You see that. And sometimes you do see like some of the British comedy, like when goes over it, like it struggles. And I've done a few comedy sketches for a few American sitcoms, and they're very nice and let me have like free for all. That like they asked me to record my lines, and they said go and do whatever you like. I record like 30 minutes of like footage doing it. And I go, oh, whoa, whoa, how do you say that? You can't say that. That's really offensive. But it's I think it's just like separation, different cultures. You become very unique to that culture, and some things, and even in the same countries, I think, like even here in Britain, the different classes may have different like comedy levels, like between like working class and like the upper class people. Some things just won't translate over. So I think it's very much where you are within your particular community. Some things just don't go over, and then some comedy is so great that it's for everybody.
All right. So since you're on stage, you're probably going to, I'm assuming you're going to tell jokes when you're on stage sometimes, yeah, even though it's with
Yes.
animals. So with that premise, how does the silence when your joke doesn't land hurt? Physically, emotionally, morally, or spiritually?
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh,
It
nice.
hasn't.
All right.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet.
All your jokes land, huh?
They do, yeah. Because for me, my jokes are not set up. Like usually,
Spontaneous?
it's spontaneous off the bat. The only
Got
time
it.
I'd say it hurts a little bit is if I've gone into do a talk on stage and I've used a joke and people are crying, they're laughing. I'm like, oh, this was great. All right, I'm remembering that, and then I go and do another show, and then I set it up to do the same joke. And if the audience doesn't have the same, even if they're happy and they laugh, but they don't have the same high reaction, even if
Hmm.
I set it up, I'm like, oh, oh wow, that in my head, they didn't come out the same way. And I'll go and try and do it again, try and get that level up. I'm like, what is happening? And then it's like oh, I'm not doing that joke again. Like, so there's a little bit of a crush, but I
It
haven't had
makes you
any.
wonder, is it the joke or was it something else? Because they laughed the first time. So why did they laugh? Right?
Yeah, I think it might be because I'm not a comedian. I think it might be it was more funny when it is authentic, like when it was real,
Hmm.
compared to me going there and like having it prepared, like
So it was like
maybe
a spontaneous improvised joke that you tried to reproduce?
exactly that. I mean, people still laughed, but it just didn't have the same reaction as
Right. Yeah.
the when it was real.
Simulating spontaneity, uncanny valley, right? For all the video gamers, when you have that character, you're like, that just looks weird. And you're like, yeah, but I see it every time. Now I'm used to it. But it's like the hand, the invisible hand. You're like, where did that come from? So how about love and justice? So is the highest function of comedy to expose injustice or to make people feel less alone while living with it?
Um, both. Both. I mean, comedy. We can use comedy, and that's why I like using it. There's so many, dark things around the world, and you can go into those things and be completely dark and just be completely morbid. But if you can make a joke about it, uh, I think it helps people to process that better, to learn, and maybe even want to change those dark things. But also from being alone, like I live alone, and the thing I like to watch most are comedies and listen to comics because they make you laugh. So I do really think as well how helping that loneliness, but I think definitely helping with
Beady,
injustice,
beady, beady.
being able to laugh at yourself, like whatever you're going through, like if you're going through a breakup or it's a divorce or you lost the love of your life or your family members died or something like that, your dog's died, it can be very insensitive maybe from some people, but being able to make a joke over it and if it's done in the right way can be really I think can help with that healing process.
Absolutely. All right. So, very important question, Ryan. Advertising and self promotion. Who advertises themselves more, the comic, the comedian, or the magician? You know that place where you're not conscious and you're not sleeping either? That's your power bill to the electric company. Right here. I want us to be here with free energy, where the Wardenclyffe Tower meets the Eiffel Tower. But that's not where we are. We are here, where you've got the utility and you've got residential solar. Between these two, we know which one saves you money. This is where we can go in the meantime. But this is where I want us to be now, and this can be done now. So let me deputize you to represent DOSE, Department of Solar Efficiency, and let's get on the podcast and get the message out today. See you soon.
The comedian does. I definitely say the comedian does. I mean, the comic, if it's natural for them, if they're not going up, like if they're not going up on the stage, but the comedian is having to process and write all that material, and there is so much competition, not just from other comedians, but from everybody, and the online world now. Yeah, you completely have to. Yeah, that self promotion is just completely non-stop. You're having to record your shows, and then even your bits of your private life you have to set up to make that funny, to entice people. Like you're constantly just putting out a hook with a bit of bait on there to bring people into you. So yeah, non-stop.
All right. So, Ryan, what don't you want me to know about you?
Oh, I wouldn't tell you. Okay. When I was a kid, it's not something I'll tell. When I was a kid, I believed Superman was real, and I would look up in the sky for Superman. And now I have dreams about being Superman, but in my dreams, and then when I think about it, it's logical. It is if I'm flying around, I have to fly along like the road, because I think if I'm that high up in the sky and it's clouds, how do you know where you are? So if I fly along the road, I can follow the route to the destination. But
Right.
I could just imagine like if it was real and like a building was falling down, or it was a car crash, or a woman's falling off a helicopter like in the movie or whatever, where's Superman? It's like, hang on a minute, I've gone the wrong way and going back down the next exit and coming back. So that's how I imagine it in my head.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's
So
just
how about I like this. So how about just as a silly character, like you've got all these Superman powers, but same situation, you can't navigate, so you have a motorcycle helmet with a heads-up display.
that'll be really good. I like that, but when I get there, do I have to take the helmet off
It's up to
and
you.
stay?
It could be modular, flip the visor and so so people can see your eyes. It's up to you. It's your call on that one. So,
Because then I'll look like a Power Ranger.
yes, except you have well, yes, they had powers too. I don't remember exactly how they got the powers, but there was something going on there as well. So how about censorship and offense? So does a comic avoid offense while a comedian courts it to prove a point, like a magician?
Um, Depends on the comedian. Depends on the comic. I think some will. I think there's definitely they will use it to prove a point. Uh, which is a lot of fun to do. That's something I will do as well. Try and poke to get that reaction to make a point. But I think some will do it to avoid it. But you can see some sometimes where they transition, where they avoiding it, and they start testing the waters to see like how they can get away with that offensive joke, which is true. And then
Mhm.
afterwards, like, boom, if that worked, we're going to use it.
All right. So then who survives better in the cancel culture environment? The comic, the comedian, the magician, or the mudslinger?
Um, Probably say the comic.
All right.
I'd probably say the
No,
comic. Yeah.
not the mudslinger, huh? The guy at the execution throwing the tomatoes, he ain't gonna make it.
I don't think they will. I think they will try and make it as long as possible, but they will get caught themselves. I think that's the thing with it, with the council culture, because you do see some who are the mudslingers, and they will jump on that rally to get someone cancelled, and then if they do it to the wrong person, they end up getting cancelled. It's like they're going for like too high, and they end up getting cancelled. And you've seen it quite a lot now, where you get people trying to cancel others, and it falls back on them. So I think overall, if the comic has good intentions, the comedian as well with good intentions, and their jokes, it's their job. You know, they're not doing anything to be malicious. Obviously, if they do a joke which is just horrendous and something like that, then there could be a question for that cancel or who they are as a person, depending on what they're doing in their private life. But I think if they got enough of a fan base and people who are just generally considerate and understanding, I think they can survive that cancel culture compared to the mud. I think eventually it'll fall back on the mudslinger who's just trying to dirty the water. Like I think.
All right. So, Ryan, is truth treasure in heaven?
No, it's
All
not
right.
treasure. It's treasure on earth, but not in
Ah,
heaven. And yeah, it's
okay.
treasure on earth, but not in heaven.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, Ryan, are you ready to enter the multiverse?
I am, yes.
I know it's a scary question. So, board game Zoomcast, play versus performance. So, you have to choose an avatar. So, if comedy were a board game Zoomcast, are you competing as the colorist avatar, adding tone, mood, and shading, or the Foley artist avatar, building punchlines with soundscapes and timing?
Um, that's a tough question. I think the second one there,
Okay.
being able to use that the whole lot of material for me, I think is helpful. Using all the color and the sound for me, I
Okay.
think is more perfect. Yeah.
Well, we're in the multiverse, so if things are too similar, then you're going to get stuck. So, does comedy work better when it's painted vividly or when it's orchestrated sonically?
Um, Vividly, going from my own experiences, vividly when it's real rather than orchestrated.
Well, it's it's vividly visual, but sonically orchestrated. So you're saying the sound part is not as relevant.
Um, it depends. I think on the visual. I mean, sounds very important, but if it's orchestrated, I'll probably say if the sound is authentic, then it's better.
Hopefully, with AI, you won't know. If, hopefully, with transmissions, you can feel it though. All right. So here on the Comedians and Elevators podcast, we have a tradition where the previous guest asks a question for the next guest. And the previous guest was Nicholas Sundberg. And his question for you, Ryan, is how much can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
A lot, a few tons. Yeah,
Few tons. Okay. That's a big
few
number.
tons.
All
Yeah,
right. We're in the tons.
that's all they're gonna do is just chuck on that wood. I'm gonna say, a few tons.
Fair enough. All right. So, last question legacy. Who gets remembered? Will the comic's tight five survive time, or will the comedian's cultural point of view be more timeless?
Hmm. Means I think the comedian's cultural point of view. If you're going for people's culture, is what people understand. That's
Mhm.
going to stick with people for because culture can be anything, right? Like it could be about love, it could be about death, it could be about religion. So it becomes something everybody can relate to when you hit in that audience. So if you're very good at it, you shall be you shall have that legacy.
All right. Awesome, Ryan. Well, so where can everybody find you online?
They can find me on all the social pages: Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook at Save the Animals, Save the World, and see all our animal rescues and wildlife presenting and all the conservation work we do.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being my guest. And for everyone, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.
Thank you.
If you're interested in too much information like in the network state or Mantipus the chicken shit, check out this video. Or is it this one right here? Well, either way, lizard.